I caught my fiancée in bed with my best friend. She mocked me, so I smiled and walked away. I still can't believe I'm writing this. My hands are shaking, but not from sadness, from pure rage. I'm Noah, 32M. Until yesterday, I was engaged to Chryson, 29F. We were together for 3 years, engaged for 6 months, and my best friend Brian, 31M, was supposed to be my best man. Was being the key word here. Looking back, the signs were there. Chryson started going to the gym more about 4 months ago. Nothing unusual except Brian was her trainer. But hey, he's been my best friend since high school. I trusted him completely. Big mistake. Chryson started coming home later. Said it was client meetings running long. Her phone was always face down. She'd get late-night texts and smile at them, but if I came near, she'd quickly lock the screen. When I asked about it, she turned it on me. Why are you so controlling? Don't you trust me? God, you're so insecure. Yesterday, I was supposed to be out until 6 p.m. for a site visit. It ended early, so I picked up takeout from her favorite spot to surprise her. But I got the real surprise. Brian's truck was in our driveway. He was supposed to be at work. I stood there, holding the food, staring at his license plate, hoping it was someone else's truck. It wasn't. I unlocked the door and went in quietly. I heard noises upstairs. You know that moment in movies where everything fades except the sound of your heartbeat? Yeah, that was me. I pushed open the bedroom door. There they were, in our bed. The bed we picked out together. The one where we talked about our future, our kids, our dreams. Chryson looked at me, smirked, and said, "What are you gonna do? Cry?" Brian jumped up. "Bro, I can explain." I cut him off. "Don't call me bro." My voice was calm. Too calm. Chryson just pulled the sheet up around her and said, "Well, say something. Go ahead. Have your little breakdown." Instead, I pulled out my phone and took a few pictures. They scrambled to cover up. Too late. I said, "Thanks for making this easy." Then I turned and walked out. She shouted after me, "That's it? You're just gonna walk away, you effing coward?" I stopped at the door. "No, I'm just getting started." I spent the night at a motel. This morning, 47 missed calls from Kristen, 23 from Brian, texts ranging from begging to threats. My favorite one from Chryson, "You better not ruin my life over this or I swear to God you'll regret it." Too late. What they didn't know was that I'd suspected something for weeks. I had screenshots, tons of them, from our shared iPad that Chryson forgot she was still logged into. Every message, every meetup, every lie. She even used my credit card to pay for personal training sessions with Brian. So I made some calls. First, the bank. I moved my half of our joint savings into a new account, removed her as an authorized user from everything. Second, our families. I sent them the proof. The engagement ring is now sitting on our kitchen table with a note. Hope he's worth it. Oh, and I did send everything to Judith, Brian's wife. She deserves to know. She called me this morning. We talked for hours. Turns out she had suspected something too. Now Chryson's sister is calling me cruel for not letting Chryson explain. Explain what? How she accidentally fell on my best friend's Update 1. Woke up to another wave of messages. Chryson showed up at my place crying, apologizing, saying it was a mistake. I let her talk. Said nothing. Then she flipped to anger. "You're seriously throwing away 3 years over one mistake? We're getting married in 4 months." I finally said something. "No, we were getting married in 4 months. Now, you can marry Brian." "Oh, wait, you can't. He's still married." She stormed out. Judith's filing for divorce. Brian? Fired from his gym job. Chryson? Living with her parents again. Me? Just got promoted and planning a solo trip to clear my head. I'm not broken. I'm just getting started. So after catching my fiancé in bed with my best friend, you'd think that was the worst of it. But it only got more surreal from there. After I walked in on them, I just looked at her and said, "You know what's funny? I was actually coming. Home early to surprise you. Had dinner reservations and everything. Guess I was the one who got surprised instead." She went pale, then started stammering something about how I'd violated her privacy by looking at her messages. That's when I lost it. Actually laughed, right in her face. Privacy? Like the privacy of our bed, where I just found you with my best friend? Then, like something out of a bad movie, Brian walked in. Perfect timing, bro. He tried to act cool, all calm, like, "Hey man, let's just talk this out like men." I looked him straight in the eye. 15 years of friendship, and you couldn't keep your D out of my fiancé? There's nothing to talk about. That's when it got heated. Brian tried stepping up on me, getting in my face. "What? You gonna hit me? Go ahead. Give me a reason to call the cops." I didn't move, just stared at him. And like most bullies, he folded the moment he realized I wasn't going to back down. But here's where it gets good. While all this drama was playing out, I'd been quietly gathering receipts. Literally. Every gym session Kristen ever booked with Brian, paid for with my credit card, plus some very telling messages about their so-called workouts. So, I did what any sane person would do. I sent everything to Judith, Brian's wife. Within an hour, Brian's phone was blowing up. Guess who's sleeping on someone's couch now? Meanwhile, Kristen was trying to spin the story, telling mutual friends I was overreacting, that it was just a mistake. But then, the screenshots started circulating. Funny how fast people switch sides when they see the truth with their own eyes. The wedding venue called about the final payment. I told them the wedding was off, and why. The coordinator was surprisingly chill. "It happens more than you'd think. At least you found out before the wedding. I've since moved most of my stuff to my brother's place, changed all my passwords, ordered new credit cards. The works. Kristen keeps texting from new numbers, switching between begging and threatening. Brian's also been messaging me, accusing me of ruining his marriage. Buddy, pretty sure you did that all by yourself." And here's the crazy part. I feel calm. Maybe it's the shock. Maybe it's relief. But more than anything, it's knowing that I dodged a nuke in a wedding dress. Some friends think I should work it out with Kristen. Not sure if they're just clueless or if they knew and stayed silent. Anyway, Judith and I decided to meet up. We wanted to compare notes. Update 2, sometimes the trash takes itself out. I wasn't planning to update again, but things have escalated in ways I didn't expect. First, remember how Kristen needed me as a reference for that big client of hers? Well, last Thursday, the client actually called to verify my employment and income. I told the truth. I said I was no longer engaged to Kristen and couldn't vouch for her character. While I couldn't speak to her professional behavior, I definitely didn't feel comfortable endorsing someone who cheated on me with my best friend. The client backed out. That night, Kristen showed up at my place screaming at 9 p.m., phone out, recording everything, clearly trying to provoke me into reacting badly on camera. "You vindictive piece of SE, you cost me my biggest sale of the year." She kept getting in my face, phone raised, hoping I'd lose it. I didn't. Just stood there, calm, hands in my pockets. Actions have consequences, Kristen. You should have thought about that before fing my best friend. She lost. It. Started hurling my patio chairs at the front door. I went inside, called the non-emergency police line, and recorded the whole thing from my window. Cops showed up, gave her a formal warning for disturbing the peace. And the look on her face when her little camera stunt backfired? Priceless. But here's the main event. Judith, Brian's wife, deserved the full truth. We met at a coffee shop. I brought printed screenshots, timestamps, photos. She stayed, calm at first, until she found messages going back to January. She started crying right there in the middle of Starbucks. "He told me he was working late all those nights," she whispered, going through the messages. And she was supposed to be my friend. Judith didn't scream. She didn't lash out. She waited. On Saturday, while Brian was doing his usual group training session at the gym, she walked in, straight-faced, calm, dumped a protein shake over his head, in front of everyone. Then she pulled out her phone and started reading their messages aloud, the explicit ones, the ones where they laughed at me, at her, where they called us naive. Someone filmed it. The video went viral in our local Facebook groups. Brian lost half his clients within 48 hours. Jim didn't renew his contract. His fitness influencer dreams? Dead. Instagram tanked. Meanwhile, Kristen tried to salvage her image by posting some dramatic, vague post. Sometimes, love is messy. People make mistakes. Yeah. So does your PR strategy? Final thoughts? I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. I'm just done. And honestly, sometimes the trash takes itself out. After I exposed my fiancée Kristen for cheating on me with my best friend Brian, I thought that was the worst of it. Turns out, it was just the beginning. At first, she tried to confuse people, play the victim, spin the narrative. But that's when I decided to go nuclear. Remember our engagement party? The one where Kristen gave that emotional speech about how I saved her after her last relationship? How I was the most loyal, trustworthy man she'd ever known. Yeah, everyone recorded it. So I edited it together, with screenshots of her messages to Brian, the ones where they planned their hookups around my work schedule. Then I posted it in response to her little pity post on social media. She called me yesterday, actually crying this time, none of the fake tears from before. Please take it down, Noah. People are calling my parents. My sister won't even talk to me. Brian won't answer my texts. What am I supposed to do? I asked, cry? Then hung up. Their little fairy tale blew up spectacularly. Brian's crashing on a buddy's couch. Judith, his now ex-wife, changed the locks. Kristen's broker is furious about the lost client. And most of our mutual friends, they took my side. Turns out people don't like cheaters, especially the kind who mock their victims. And me? I've still got receipts, more screenshots, more truth bombs. But honestly, just watching them unravel has been way more satisfying than anything I could plan. They're panicking, calling, texting, begging me to meet up and find closure. They're not looking for closure. They're scared. Because they know I still have the rest of the story. And the best part? I'm at peace. Every morning I wake up and thank whatever force made me come home early that day. Imagine if I hadn't. If I'd married her, had kids, bought a house. Sometimes the worst thing that happens turns out to be the best thing that could have happened. Final update. How it all ends. Sorry for the delay. These past few weeks have been intense, but I promise to tell you how this ends, and trust me, it's worth the wait. Remember how I said I had more cards to play? Well, I played them. No illegal moves, nothing shady, just methodical, surgical exposure. Let's start with Kristen. She once mocked me and said, "What are you going to do, cry?" Those words stayed with me. Turns out our neighbor's security cam had a perfect view of our driveway. For months, it recorded her sneaking Brian into our house while I was working late. I compiled the footage, matched it with text messages from our shared iPad. She'd forgotten to delete them. Then I waited. Last week, Kristen had a huge pitch with a wealthy couple. The deal would have set her up financially for the year. Guess who their close friend is? My cousin, Edgar. One conversation with receipts, and the couple pulled out. But it didn't stop there. See, in small towns, truth travels fast. I didn't spread rumors. I didn't need to. I just showed people what they asked to see. Her phone blew up with canceled appointments. Turns out, couples looking for a dream. Home prefer agents who don't sleep with their clients' spouses. Oh, yeah. Brian had trained some of Kristen's clients. That went over real well. Now let's talk about Brian. Judith had already kicked him out, but she wanted full confirmation. So I gave her everything: videos, texts, timestamps, even their gym sessions. She confronted him that night, threw his stuff on the lawn, changed the locks, and it got worse. Judith works at the same gym where Brian trained clients. Suddenly, his calendar was full of cancellations. Most of his high-paying clients dropped him. Then the real fireworks started. They turned on each other. Brian blamed Kristen for being sloppy. Kristen blamed Brian for not being careful. Their perfect little affair imploded. But last night, that was the cherry on top. I was out at a local bar with some friends when they walked in, together. Kristen spotted me, stormed over and spat, "You're pathetic. You destroyed our lives because you couldn't handle the truth." I smiled. "Handle the truth? Honey, I'm handling it just fine. How's that big commission going?" Brian tried to step in. I turned to him. "And you, brother? How's the personal training biz? Judith mentioned the gyms, thinking of letting you go. Something about client complaints?" That did it. He swung at me. "Big mistake. I may work behind a desk now, but I grew up rough." 10 seconds later, he was on the floor, nose bleeding. I didn't even get kicked out. Bartender saw him swing. First. Filed a police report too, just in case. This morning, Kristen's broker called her in. Apparently losing major deals and sleeping with a client's husband raises a few red flags. She's now on probation, pending review. Brian? He's getting divorced, lost most of his clients, and may lose his gym job. Their relationship? Already falling apart. They're constantly fighting, blaming each other for everything. And me? I met someone. Her name's Aspen. She's nothing like Kristen, honest, direct, no games. We're taking it slow, but it feels real. She knows my story and understands why I keep receipts now. Look, the point of revenge isn't to break the law or hurt people physically. It's about letting people face the consequences of their own actions. Sometimes all it takes is a little push in the right direction. They thought I was weak because I walked away. They mistook patience for weakness. Big mistake. Karma isn't a bitalapu. She's just got great timing and a clipboard full of receipts.